Yo, what is cracking? What's popping? What's shaking, everybody? Happy Friday. Uh, Today's a special day. Okay, as you can see, if you're looking at Grace to my right, she has on a celebration hat, a birthday hat, and today we are celebrating 1 year of being in the comic cinematic universe. So today, or no, the 24th was our official birthday. The actual stream that Grace, she decided, she's like, oh cool, yeah, I'll chat with you live, and from there just kind of move forward. So Grace, what's up?
1 year, baby! I'm
Mm-hmm.
so excited. So fun story. I went to go pick up the cupcake so we can like light a candle and do the official little like 1 year. I got a ready?
Yeah,
Ready?
yeah.
No, check it out.
I see it.
I got it.
Look at that.
But
Look at that.
I was
You went all
the
out.
reason we're kind of starting a little delayed is because my car wasn't starting.
It's fine.
I'm
Listen, it
trying to
happens.
leave the store.
Listen, you and me, we're having a day, okay? And it came to the point to where it was the mission of getting birthday party supplies. I go to Ralph's, I get my cherry pie, and I got some birthday cupcakes here, and get to the register, chip doesn't work. And then when the chip doesn't work, they ask me to slide, decline. And I'm just like, can't decline. I have the funds. Here's my account. And they're like, I don't know what to tell you. So I went to Chase Bank just because I tried to like call the numbers in the Chase app. Both numbers weren't working. So by this point, I'm heated.
Yep.
And go to Chase, and the woman at the window, she was just like, no, your card works fine. All you gotta do here, look, check it out. Take the chip, take your finger, just rub the chip with your finger. Don't rub it with your clothes, and then just use it as is. And I was like, it can't be that simple. Like, why am I going through the hoops here? So I go back to Ralph's, and instead of actually going through the line to check out, I just did self-checkout. I didn't want to bother because it was already embarrassing as is. I was holding up the line. I was like, sorry guys, sorry y'all. I have money. I'm not broke.
I promise.
Right, but mission complete, though it took longer than necessary, but I got my supplies as well.
Okay, so we were like on the same boat. See, luckily, like where I went wasn't too far, so my partner picked me up. We made it happen. We're here. We got the pies. We got the cupcakes. And it's gonna be a great show.
Okay, so the game plan for today, we're gonna recap Comic-Con, but before we even get into that, I do want to kind of talk about this year that we've had. Just for starters, Grace, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you for sticking with it. We've been doing it this whole time. Initially, we started out doing every other week, and then you bumped it up to every week. So thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and just with everything that we've kind of seen, we've been able to recap the movies, recap the shows. And we got some good followers, so I appreciate everybody that follows and chimes in from time to time. What's up? And yeah, as far as this year goes, it's been a good year, and I can only expect to do more. We missed this year's Comic-Con in San Diego, but next year
we're gonna go live.
We're gonna be there. Okay, we got some plans, so we will be there next year, and hopefully, like, because Grace mentioned it to me earlier this week that Comic-Con kind of lands closer to our birthday, so who knows? That may be our birthday celebration next year. We'll see.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
No, this has been such a fun year. Originally when you asked me, I was like, you want me to have a dedicated time where we can talk about the nerdy things?
Yeah.
Yes. So this has been freaking amazing. We do this with a passion. We appreciate you guys for supporting the show. collaborating with us, all the things, commenting on the posts, hopping onto live streams. So thank you to my co-host Chill and to all of you
Yeah.
in the fandom.
All right. So, Comic-Con. I have a certain order that I want to kind of get into. I don't want to just go straight into Marvel. So, as far as the order, before we even get into the order, let me see your pies and cakes. Let's do it. Let's break.
Wait, what are we gonna do?
Break out like a pie. We don't have to eat it all right now. Just like I got mine right here. Boom, here.
We're gonna eat it all.
But for those who missed our Miss Marvel, I think it was episode 2 or 3. The dad was talking about these pies, and we just kind of made it a thing to where today we're gonna have one of these pies live and celebrate.
So this is my story. Ready?
Go for it.
So I couldn't find. I went to like 3 stores. I could not find the pies, so I had to get a whole pack of the mini ones.
Oh my goodness, man!
Check it out.
Oh man!
So let me show you. These are tiny. So if you guys see me open like 2 more, don't judge me because they're mini.
Where did you go? What store?
Huh? I went to.
Did you go to?
I
You went to
Ralph's.
Vons?
I went to a gas station. Yeah, I went to Vons. I went to a gas station,
Okay.
and then I just gave up.
Because usually it's like I don't know why Ralph's does this, and this is for like every Ralph's in the San Fernando Valley. That's the only like I only know those Ralph's out here. But when it comes down to it, like these and every other little Hostess thing, they're not near like the bakery. They're not near the breads. They're always just kind of just tucked, and you just have to go find like it's like where's Waldo, but it's like where's the Hostess stand, you know? So luckily it was one day I spotted it, and I was just like, okay, boom, it's right here. So when I come back for it, I know where to find it.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, you smack. Like I'm not mad.
I sure do.
These are pretty good.
Yeah, I love these. I love them so much that I had to take a break, like forcefully, like because it came to the point to where it was just like I would just go to 7-Eleven just once or twice a week and grab one of these.
It sounds like a sad life.
Not sad at all. I love it. Okay, so Comic-Con. I want to talk about the least comic-related movie that they kind of announced, and that was John Wick. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Did you see the trailer?
I did not. So this is gonna be news to me. Let's do it.
Okay, I'm not gonna break down the trailer just because you haven't seen it, but I'm just gonna say it looks super lit. It has because you know how with movies, especially when they're going up in numbers, whether if it's like Fast and Furious or something, it's like you always have to one up the last movie. So say this one, the one up is they brought the actor who plays Ip Man, Tony. No, that's not Tony Jaa. I forgot the name of. Donnie Yen. And I love him in all of his food. I was gonna say all of his foods, all of his films, and great martial artist. So I'm excited to see Keanu take Donnie on hand to hand. They got some swords and like a gunfight in the trailer, so it looks pretty exciting, you know. So I just wanted to kind of knock that out early. I want to go from like least comic to most comic. So the next step would be DC. Okay.
DC, man. We thought DC was out for the count in 2022, but we were wrong because they hit us with both the newest Black Adam trailer and Shazam Fury of the Gods, and they're both slated for this year. So they're here and they're ready, and I'm pumped. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Black Adam or Shazam?
Yes.
Let's go for Black Adam first.
Cool.
Okay. Go for it.
Let me pull up my notes. So, Black Adam, we got a little bit of a sneak peek in the fandom, DC fandom, and I believe that is the last trailer that we've gotten for the film. So this would be trailer number 2. Let me just open this up.
Fandom was kind of like, it wasn't necessarily a trailer, it was more so like a clip, and It was just like The Rock taking on like an army in that clip. So
that's all you gotta see.
and
Because
now,
that's all you needed.
well, say in this trailer now, we get other characters like Dr. Fate, and I think there was a couple other people. I don't know them.
Yes, so I got those names.
Mm-hmm.
We have Hawkman, Isis, who I believe is the wife of Black Adam, Dr. Fate, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Viola Davis is actually set to return as Amanda Waller. I don't think we saw her in the trailer. I rewatched. I don't think I saw it. But she's slated to return. And then we have Adam Smasher, played by Noah Centineo, and then we have Cyclone. So we have like a really nice handful of characters getting brought into this film, which I think is fun. And being that Viola Davis is supposed to be reprising her role in this film, I feel like it connects things to existing projects. You know, even if they do the whole Suicide Squad 2 kind of like a reboot, it's kind of cool to be in this world. You know what I mean?
When it comes down to just this universe, let's call it the DCEU. It's official that DC is trying to do something, trying to build something similar to Marvel but different. You know, they're it's like, of course they had the Batman v Superman and Justice League and both Suicide Squads and everything like that, but now they're trying to add onto that universe, because they already had Shazam, and now they're bringing back Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Black Adam, and can't forget Aquaman and Wonder Woman. So they're trying to find a way to bring the actual fans back over to the DC side, because we've said it before, it's been rocky. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's kind of hard just from like dropping the ball all the time. You know.
I mean, they had such potential for 2022. Mm-hmm. You know, at the end of 2021, we were, you know, kind of mapping out the year, talking about all the things coming up. Fandom had just kind of came out recently at that point, mm-hmm. and there were a lot of projects on like the calendar for the year. Like I don't think they were ever so close to Marvel in terms of projects that were coming out, and we were like living for it. We were excited. They had momentum, mm-hmm. with, you know, Suicide Squad 2 coming out, like that came out last year, and then also with Batman, mm-hmm. and then they all got pushed back, and we assumed Shazam and Black Adam were also going to wait until 2023, because I think that's what they had originally announced. Yeah. So I'm excited that they're back on the calendar. We got DC things to talk about, you know?
Listen, let me ask you a question. Do you think that, as far as the Shazam and Black Adam projects, them announcing that it's coming out this year, was this more so, would you say it was kind of like a ploy in terms of, it's like, Comic-Con's here, we gotta have something?
I wonder if this was the plan all along. It's like they announced everything was no longer on the calendar, so that when they gave us something that technically they already gave us, we're like, yay!
Right.
But it's literally them just like, oh, we have nothing else for you guys, you know?
Right.
I mean, they got little things, like I believe Sandman is the one that's coming out on Netflix, is a DC property. We did get a trailer for that also. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they have the Harley Quinn animated series that did come out, but they're smaller things, not necessarily cinematically, you know? So it could have been a cheap shot. I wouldn't have been surprised if it wasn't cut off, because honestly, that's kind of it. They didn't give us any new updates really for any of the other big projects. I think
I was going to say, I think James Gunn, he's too busy to do like a Peacemaker 2, like a second season or anything like that. He's too busy doing Guardians right now.
Dude, and like in Comic-Con, I don't know if you saw like the full panel, if you saw like the full Marvel display, but like he has discussions of like, he's like, you guys have no idea how many projects I've pitched to like Feige, mm-hmm. all of these things. Mm-hmm. So it's like he is busy, and so I mean, anything with his name on it, I'm excited to watch, whether it's DC or Marvel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's exciting. And then when it comes to Black Adam. Mm-hmm. It's expected to come out October 21st, so not too far away. Let me see. And it seems, just based on the trailer, I feel like there's a scene where so this, it seems like it's following his normal like tragic story of like losing his family, and that's kind of where his origin comes. I feel like this, it starts off with him saying something along the lines of like, heroes, like when they're forged, like he was like his powers aren't a gift,
Right.
like it's like out of like fury or something like that. So it does seem like it's going to match up like his origins in the comics. I believe there's a scene where we actually see his son getting sacrificed ritualistically,
Right.
like on this like pyramid type of thing. So it looks great, and like I feel like we talked about it before. The Rock is huge, and so I feel like we were kind of wondering how it's gonna look for him to be like a superhero like this in the tights and like the full getup. But it looks great. Like, I mean, I'm excited. How are you feeling about it?
I'm excited. Just simply for the fact that like I've mentioned it before. Like The Rock has been one of those like actors to initially I wasn't really like I was a huge Rock fan when it came to wrestling, and then when he started acting, not so hot. But today like it's like almost like the Midas touch. It's like almost everything that he's on. It's like I hate to say it works, and he has, I would say, a great team behind him to come out with the projects that he's coming out with. Coincidentally, he's coming out with another DC project with the whole like pet situation with Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
So he I'm sure is gonna do a great job, and I still have the question. I popped it like a year ago when fandom released the initial trailer. I was like, what is Shazam gonna do against that? I don't know.
And maybe this upcoming film, actually, that's kind of a great transition over to Shazam. Like, I feel like maybe this film is going to hopefully set the bar where we can kind of see him, going toe to toe with someone like Black Adam. Because if you compare the two tones of the trailer, it's like night and day. Like
Sure.
Shazam is very lighthearted, and then Black Adam is just very like, I don't want to say dramatic, but it just has a different vibe. Shazam's set to release December 21st, so it's going to be after Black Adam, end of this year. And I'm really curious about it. I'm really curious to see how they're going to stack it up, because it's coming. Like, that's like around the corner. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the next film that these two kind of come out in,
Well, they should all like it's gonna come to the point to where it's like I don't know the name of the storyline, but it's gonna come down to where there's gonna be like a clash of the big three, which is Shazam, Black Adam, and Superman. But as of right now, we have no idea if Henry Cavill's gonna play Superman. And I think Warner Brothers, honestly, before we even like just kind of predict anything, I feel like let them prove what they can with these movies before even thinking about going forward. Did I like the first Shazam? It was all right. It was a cool movie, but the only thing that I can say I'm excited about this new Shazam that's coming out would be Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu. Those are great actresses, and for some reason I always, I don't know if it's just my way of thinking, like if it's just like that type of caliber to sign up for a movie like that, I don't think they would sign on to do a bad movie,
No, I totally agree, especially with Lucy Liu. Like, she hasn't really been in any recent projects that I can think of.
Right.
And she's a big name.
Yeah.
Huge. So I agree. Like, I think for them to sign up to a project, I feel like that it does put some credibility into the film for us to expect it to be as good as the last one, which I think was a good movie. I actually was surprised at how much I did like it, and hopefully even blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
And so Lucy Liu and, why can't I think of her name? You just said
Helen Mirren.
Yes. They're playing the daughters of Atlas, and it's kind of cool, like the concept, because they're basically upset and a little offended by the fact that children are wielding the powers of the gods, including their father, right? And so that's kind of what like the theory of the gods is like. That's the main conflict, is what it seems. And I liked how this film started off with like Shazam having that. And he even says it too. It's like the imposter syndrome
Mm-hmm.
complex where he's like, there's already the Flash, there's already Aquaman and Batman. Kind of like, where do I fit into all of this? You know. I think in the in the last film we finished with the family getting the power, so I think we're obviously gonna get a lot more of how they work synergistically, whereas the previous film was much more centered around just this one character. So I'm excited. Like I really enjoyed the last film.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. Like, I know aside from Helen and Lucy, it's like there's gonna be some scenes which I saw initially in the fandom. They showed the behind the scenes of Shazam fighting a dragon. So there's some supposed dragons in this movie, and I'm just curious just to see, because the way they kind of broke down the dynamic in this trailer as far as the family is, it's just like he said, like the brothers and sisters who have the powers are kind of going on to do bigger and better things, while he's kind of stuck there, you know. So I wonder if it's just on some, if he's just gonna be kind of carrying this movie, or carrying the movie by himself a majority of the time, and then eventually maybe his family comes to help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how it comes out. I'm excited. The trailer was fun. It looks pretty epic. Like, I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he's talking to who we find out to be, like, his pediatrician.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of venting his feelings towards. And when they kind of pan over to be like, I'm a pediatrician, and they pan over to all the toys.
Right.
Did you catch the Annabelle doll?
No.
Like, it's the legit Annabelle doll that they show in, like, the films.
I missed it.
I was like, why is this doll here? It's like creepy dark eyes and everything. It stood out to me. I thought that was weird.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
No, yeah, definitely watch it. I'm like curious what I wonder if like some director or visual whatever like was on that project and thought it'd be cute to just kind of throw it in there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I really did love how and I'm just calling him Shazam because I keep forgetting what his actual name is.
I don't even know his name.
Yeah, but Shazam is, having this conversation with one of the characters, and then he's like, I've seen Fast and Furious. It's all about the family. And then I think it's funny because she's in that film too, like in that series.
Right.
It was good.
Mm-hmm.
I just like that, the little banter.
I think we skipped over, like we kind of talked about like the characters briefly that's in Black Adam, but I was glad we got to see more of Dr. Fate. I don't really know too much about him from the comics. The only thing I really know about him is actually from playing the game Injustice, and he seemed like a cool character. But like here, it looks like he can multiply himself, and he was kind of taking on not Shazam, Black Adam by himself, and there. I don't know if you mentioned. The other character, I think his name is Adam. He's kind of like the DC version of Ant-Man.
So this is Adam Smasher. So that's Noah Centineo.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think this is the one that you're referring to. Hold on, because I think
there is one that shrinks, like, and I think
yes,
his name is Adam or something like that, like ATOM.
It is, but I don't think it's this character. Yeah, because that one's just Adam. So I just double checked right now. This one is Adam Smasher, so it's a completely different character.
Gotcha.
And just a little like background on his powers. He does have similar. Oh, wait a minute. I think now I'm a little confused. Okay, so the notes that I have, he's similar to growth powers, superhuman strength and durability, enhanced endurance and speed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if it is the same person. I'll have to double check, but you might be right. I'm just like, I think if anything, I had like my mind was like different in terms of what I was thinking character wise.
Right.
But yeah, he has like histories with like the Suicide Squad, things like that. Like overall, like we're gonna have a lot of characters that we haven't really seen on the big screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like cinematically, so that's gonna be really cool. And the actor who plays him is like pretty well known, so I think it's gonna be good.
Is it?
Yeah, so Noah Centineo kind of built up some momentum with some like Netflix films and things like that. he was in the recent reboot of Charlie's Angels. He's been in a couple things.
Okay.
Like he's kind of become like a known face.
Is he like a teenage heartthrob or something like that? Is that the reason why I don't know
You
him?
know it.
Oh.
You know it.
I was like, I don't know this guy.
To all the boys that love Netflix.
Oh man. What else? Is there anything else DC? Because they didn't talk about Aquaman at all.
There was not very much. This was kind of it, which is why I kind of think it's funny that you did make that observation of like, you know, they kind of just gave us something we've already seen as like news,
right.
But it is news because now it's back onto the 2022 calendar, which is exciting. That's kind of it. I think I sent it to you, that little like GIF or meme.
Right. We reposted it on the Instagram, like DC fans like pushing somebody off a bungee, and he's like, wait, let me tell you something.
Wait a minute. Let me tell you something.
Yep. And I can imagine, just because, just from the conversations that we've had on here, in terms of people commenting, saying that we only talk Marvel, and we can say it and say it again. We want to talk more DC. It's just DC is like limiting us on just anything. They like this Comic-Con, they gave us 2 projects that they gave us in fandom last year in 2021, you know? So I'm going to bring up a picture a little later on to where Marvel kind of did the same, but Marvel has only, I think, like in the picture that I picked up or that I'm going to put out, of the, let's say, 6 to 8 projects in this picture, only 2 have come out, which was like Miss Marvel and then like one other show, and then everything else is kind of slated to release later this year and next year. So Marvel gave us some new things. DC, I wish we could. I really wish we can get more, you know. But it's just hard.
That was an understatement right there, because Marvel didn't just give us a little. Marvel gave us an overwhelming amount of information about the history of the MCU that's to come. Mm-hmm. And so when you compare that to what DC gave us, it's just night and day. And it very much just shows exactly that. It's like we are ready and excited to talk more about DC projects, but it's like Marvel is still one-upping them. It's like we're more than a decade into this superhero world that we've kind of jumped into when it comes to cinema.
Right. And
DC is still just like hit or miss, you know? So
one thing I would like from DC, just because, say, last year, right? Just in terms of talking Peacemaker. That was last year, right? Not this year.
No, I think it was this year.
Okay. Well, this year Peacemaker had almost like a quick turnaround right after Suicide Squad 2, you know? So in the meantime, while you're still trying to figure out your movies, why not try to do the HBO Max shows, and don't just give us like the stuff that was on like CW moved to HBO Max. Give us like some HBO Max originals like Peacemaker, just with other characters, just so we know it's related to the universe that you're trying to build, and that would give us something more excited to talk about.
Give us the content. Like, we're so excited to talk more about it. They have a lot of things in the work, but they're so backlogged. It's just, I don't know. It's just they're losing the momentum. Like, they had such good traction early in the year, and then it just went down. So, but you know, I think maybe like the tail end of this year might be it for them to kind of build it up. Who knows? Maybe 2023 is going to get a lot more projects for us. But then again, if it was, like, why wouldn't they mention them?
That's the thing. It's like they mentioned these two, but it could be coming in 2023. We got these, and we didn't get that, you know.
Nothing. So it's just, yeah. The contrast is insane. But I think that wraps up the majority of my notes for this too. Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get into Marvel talk? Because there is a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Wait,
I got
hold on.
my birthday.
What do you got?
My birthday cupcakes. See what I'm saying?
Dude, okay, is it time for the cupcakes?
I'm breaking one out. I mean, I had to get over this DC hump. You know what I'm saying? This dry DC hump. So I had to break out.
Guys.
Break out
Ready?
a cupcake. You know what I'm saying?
Should we blow out our candle right now since I'm gonna open my little cupcake too?
Sure, go for it.
Let's do it. Let's see if I
Is
don't.
that a just cupcake? Like just dessert?
Is it? It is.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried these?
I have.
I haven't tried these before.
have. They're pretty good.
Okay.
You can see I'm kind of a fatty over here. It's like I'm naming brands.
This you could smell it from across the galaxy.
Yep.
All right, I'm opening up our little candle.
Right.
I got the little lighter right here. Let's see if I don't burn my hair again.
Please don't.
She's growing. She's doing good.
That's good.
Okay, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah. Bring it on back behind your shoulders. Yep.
Do a little of that. Do a little of that. I've learned. Okay. Isn't this just so pretty? Okay, let's just take a moment because she's adorable.
Look at that. Boom. We're gonna post it on our Instagram later.
Here we go.
Yep. There it is.
Okay. All right. Let's see if I can figure this baby out.
Mm-hmm. Man, that fan is blowing.
Dude, I'm gonna have to turn off the fan. Do you see that?
I saw that. It was a struggle to light it. No worries. All good. So, in the meantime, wow.
Okay, let's try this. Take two.
Take two. All right.
Okay, hold on. Is she? Hold
Nope,
on.
It's not lit.
Yay!
There it is. Awesome.
She's so cute. Okay.
All right.
Ready?
There
We
it
blow
is.
candle on three.
Okay. One,
One,
two,
two,
three.
three.
All right.
Yay!
So,
cool.
Marvel.
All right.
Marvel gave us a shit ton. Okay? And I'm lacking. I forgot to switch screens.
Let's do that.
I'm only showing respect to Marvel right now, apparently. But say when it comes down to what they gave us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marvel gave us initially. Hold on, I want to put up the Disney Plus day from last year. Okay. I'm gonna blow it up just a little bit, but they gave us 12 shows. It was Secret Invasion, Marvel Zombies, Agatha, Ironheart, X-Men 97, I Am Groot, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Echo, Spider-Man Freshman Year, and What If Season 2. So, we got that news last November of last year, right? So, of these 12 shows, we've already gotten Miss Marvel and Moon Knight, and then She-Hulk is the next one up. So, as you can see right there, there's still 9 shows here that almost got more of an announcement this go around. Say initially last year, they just kind of posted the picture, but this time in Comic-Con, we got some images, we got some stories. Is there anything that you want to dive into first?
I mean, before we even break into each project, just as like an overall introduction to this whole thing, it's like not only did they give us more from these projects, but they gave us an outline that you and I have been kind of speculating time and time, you know, about the phases. Like
where
we
we at? I needed to know.
Yeah. And you were the one who were like, we're kind of rounding out, I think, the phase, you know, like we're so many projects in. And yeah, like Kevin Feige said, phase 4 is basically done. Like the last project to finish this thing out is going to be Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
And not only did they give us that, they lined it up. Phase 5, phase 6, and gave us the official multiversal saga name, which I think most of us in the fandom have already been kind of calling it that.
It only makes sense, you know?
It only makes sense, but it's like to hear it officially is freaking insane. Insane.
So, do you have the list in front of you?
I do. Okay, so Let me bring these out.
I'm ready, just in case. Like, I have the list right here.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Go for
Okay.
it.
So for Phase 4, we have She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever coming out. Those are the last two projects to kind of round out Phase 4.
Wait. The Christmas Story isn't this year?
You know what's funny? They didn't mention that one. Let me look up when the Christmas one is about. Like you're talking about the Guardians of the
correct.
Galaxy. Okay.
Because I see on the list, the only Guardians they have is Volume 3 that comes out in May.
Yeah, it's funny enough they didn't mention this one, but it's still slated to happen. It's filmed, all of that.
Okay.
You know what's funny? It's still listed as 2022, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't talk about it.
Okay, I'm not mad. They gave us a lot.
I'm mad.
They gave us a lot. I'm good.
Let's see. I mean, it's set to release, and you know something? It just says 2022.
Okay.
So I'm a little worried about that, but I mean, it's on the lineup, so it's gonna happen. But I guess the main two projects coming out would be She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever. She-Hulk, we got what I believe is the final trailer for it. It does come out August 17th, so it's really around the corner. But it was really cool because the panel, you know, the director talked a lot about how this is going to have so many cameos, and it's going to be set up very much like kind of like, it seems like episode per episode it's going to be maybe a new client that Jennifer Walters is kind of working with. So we're going to get a handful of cameos. Daredevil has been kind of linked to this film, like the final shot.
We kind of speculated that, like, just in terms of just this being a show on the law, you know, I was like, we kind of mentioned, like, hopefully Daredevil makes an appearance here.
It makes sense. It makes total sense, especially with them kind of talking about, you know, cameos. And these are just the ones we know. Like, they have Wong, they have Abomination, they have you know, what's basically confirmed, which is Daredevil, and then they even have a poster that reveals Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up just because as of right now, there has been so many actors lined up saying they're interested in playing Ghost Rider. I know Keanu was in talks of that. That was like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It was nothing ever official, and there was like a few other people too. And then I saw that poster where the poster said Johnny Blaze, so I was like, oh, okay. So now we're actually bringing the Ghost Rider here into it.
Yeah. Do you have any? Because there have been a lot of actors who come forward to, like, you know, saying they'd like to take on the role. Do you have any favorites on that?
Keanu would have been my favorite.
Yeah. I feel like that's the only one I can think of, but I wonder if it's a role he would take at this point. You know, like, I'm kind of curious.
He's still, like, I think it was just posted today or yesterday to where he said he was looking to play a version of Batman one day.
I saw that too.
Yeah, so
I saw that too. The thing is, like, they are kind of going with younger actors right now for roles that are you know, seem to be, that are going to be present in the story for a while.
They have to.
You know?
They have to. Keanu is, I think he's 57 right now. So by the time his movie came out, say the first movie, if anything, if he was Johnny Blaze, he would probably be 60. You know what I'm saying? And like it's like, come on, old man Johnny Blaze. I get it for like Logan, you know, but we need a
for
younger,
longevity. It just wouldn't work, you know, which is why they're doing and setting up the Young Avengers, because that's going to carry this franchise for a decade after this phase, you know. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see him. He looks amazing, but it just seems like they're trending for some younger actors on that. But do you have any speculations of additional maybe cameos that we're going to see in the show, or maybe ones that you'd like to see?
Anybody that I would like to see in She-Hulk. I think the only thing that I would want in relation to just the story of the Hulk in general, I would want to see who they replace as General Ross. And hopefully, if anything, if they were able to shoot something with the original Ross, then that would be dope. If they like kind of send him off in this series.
Potentially, yeah. And you know, I think because that's such a hard role to have to recast, you know, because he has played this role really like pre MCU as we know it.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like J. Jonah Jameson. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
you have a vision of who really plays this role, and so it's going to be tough to recast. I wouldn't be surprised if they did have some footage that they were already able to shoot, just with
Yeah.
how proactive Marvel is.
Let me ask you,
But yeah,
like, how do you feel? Like, what if Marvel's what if? But what if they brought back the General Ross from the first Hulk, the Hulk that came out before the Edward Norton? There was like another actor who played General Ross. How would you feel about that?
I don't even recall.
Okay.
I mean, if they did that, I feel like continuity wise, that'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I'd be mad at it.
Okay.
I don't think I'd be mad. What other projects is that actor in? Like, cause I can't really think of the actor you're talking about.
The actor that I just mentioned, the
Yes.
General Ross. Coincidentally, he was the original Ghost Rider before Nick Cage.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Dude, if they gave us, like, let's just say we got like a definitive like actor playing, Ghost Rider
Mhm.
in this series, and we also get that guy to play General Ross in the series, I feel like that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just because of like the relationship I don't know. I think that'd be kind of dope. So I'm down for it. Yeah.
But aside from that, I can't really think of much. Like, I've seen him in a few things, but I can't really think of anything else right now.
Yeah, and when it comes to She-Hulk, I mean, one of the things is I do think that they made some changes on the CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Walters looks a little bit more natural, which was a big complaint when they gave us the previous sneak peek,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Just the quality of, and that looks a lot better in this. I think they definitely listened to the fandom.
Can I
And
let
also,
me stop you right there, okay? Just because at the end of the day, the fandom, the fandom is gonna hate no matter what. Like, just like they hated on Sonic, right? And they were like, "Oh, he doesn't even look like." I'm like, "Fam, he is fictional. he's not real." He is like whoever decided to make him or draw him up. It's like just let it be. And then like when I initially saw the She-Hulk trailer, to me, I thought she looked good in terms of CGI. I didn't think anything was wrong, but it was maybe like a day or two later, like the internet's blowing up. Oh, it looks terrible. Oh, Marvel's released a redo. I'm just like, to me, honestly, I thought she looked the same in the redo, but that's just me.
you know something? So I'm definitely on the line that it definitely did not look amazing. Like there was something off, and I think when I was seeing the comments, I'm like, I think that's kind of what it is. But also, like, I kind of want to give the CGI department a little bit of love, the VHS, the virtual effects thing, because I don't know if you've seen like
After like
the memes.
the news that came out.
No, the like it's like this meme of like, oh, like the virtual effects department at Marvel when they're seeing all this like work coming out, and it's like, no, because it's just so much,
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if maybe they were just trying to hit that deadline to release the trailer, and that's why we got kind of like maybe the mildly less quality that they would have given us. Like I'm wondering if it's just that. Like I wouldn't peg it because like that it wasn't that, because I there was a little bit of a lack in quality in the original, and I think for me that was very worrisome because like I want these shows to continue to have this cinematic quality to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want them to continue to be this like, you know, we could have seen it on like a big screen,
Mm-hmm.
just because otherwise there's a fine line between that and then it's turning into like a CW show where it's just
Sure.
really hard to feel like passionate about it when it's not done like super well. But I think it looks great, this trailer. I think it looks much better. Like I feel like it just flows very a lot more like authentically, as much as a giant green human can
Right.
on screen.
Did we talk about the whole the VFX team kind of being disgruntled?
No, I don't think we talked about it. And honestly, I feel like I only heard about it very briefly, like
Mm-hmm.
as I'm seeing these comments come through. If you have a little bit more information on it, though, like let's hear
The
it,
only thing I
because
read about it was it's just that like when it came down to, it may have been just a disgruntled like one person, and he took it upon himself to speak upon the rest of all of the VFX for Marvel. But he was just like saying that it's not like he hates it. It's just to the point to where they're so quote unquote demanding when it comes to deadlines and things like that. And the only way I can relate to that is because I used to train someone who did video game like VFX, you know, and I can say it compares similarly just because it's almost like the same type of thing in terms of graphics, and they're always trying to cram and reach deadlines, and it's a stressful environment. And now when it comes down to Marvel, when you have all of these, well, not all of these because it's only been a few, but now we have these characters that that are of course CG, but you want them to look almost as real as Thanos, you know, Thanos in Infinity War and Endgame, because the first Thanos in Avengers, it was a suit and it didn't look good, so I'm glad they went the CG route. But then kind of moving forward, it's like, okay, how do we make the Hulk look good? And now how do we make She-Hulk look good? It's like, I get that it's stressful, but at the end of the day, we're kind of making the point that the fans do appreciate all the hard work that they put in to make it as real as possible, quote unquote.
Yeah, and you know, like, I understand, well, it sounds like it was this one employee who was kind of speaking for the group, but I will say, just based on people that I know, my kind of behind the scenes connections that I have that do work for Marvel or have worked for Marvel, from my connections, from different departments, from like the crew to the marketing, all these things, the demand is overwhelming.
Oh, sure.
Overwhelming. Like, I have a couple of people that are in my circle who have worked with Marvel, who have worked with Disney, and despite the fact that they were being compensated well, like in their department, it was just not worth it because it was so demanding. So I can only imagine the virtual effects team, where it's not just like, oh, you messed up this marketing billboard or whatever. It's like the actual projects and films, and it's so strict. It's, you know, I feel like I can empathize, or I can sympathize with the you know, the team that is complaining about it, you know.
Right. I can only imagine, just because when I went to school years ago, I went to a production school, and it was like audio production and film production. And like, initially I wanted to do something like that, but I veered off and focused more so on audio. But like, just kind of hearing how folks are kind of, they're burning out, you know, just from all this demand. I'm just like, man, it's like, I'm sorry, but at the same time, I'm glad. I didn't want
You know, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, obviously, like, the fandom appreciates this. Like, it's what creates really the magic that we see on screen at this point, because there's so much that's involved with these stories. Yeah. But it looks a lot better. So I'm excited for She-Hulk. I love the concept behind it. I love that this is going to be really the first real, like, half-hour TV comedy, and that's just kind of a direct quote from the director. It seems like a very, like, female-led show, not just with Jennifer Walters, but like her best friend on the show. We have Titania. Let me see if I'm saying that correctly. I think I am.
I think the whole panel, like, initially when I saw the pictures of different panels, there was like a group of just all women, and I was like, I don't know who this is, because I didn't recognize She-Hulk without being green, you know. But like, the She-Hulk panel was just like all women.
Yeah, it was all women. So it is Titania. She is played by, I think it's pronounced Jamila Jamil, but she's on, is it The Good Place? It's a really fun show. But anyways,
is she black?
I think she's Indian.
Oh.
I don't think
then yeah, she was on The Good Place. I was thinking of the black girl from The Good Place, but Yeah, she was in The Good Place too. I've seen that.
I love her. I love her so much. I love the commentary that she had on the red carpet regarding her
Okay.
character. I'm so obsessed. And I'm excited. But the thing is, it's like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of how she looks on like the trailers. Like I don't know, like there's something about like the costuming that I'm not a fan of. But it's early on. Once we see it on screen, it will be like the final judges for that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I think it's gonna be fun, and I can't wait for all of the cameos.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Just because I feel if anything, they're gonna give us the cameos that we should have got in Multiverse of Madness.
Honestly, I hope it does.
Right.
I hope it does, and it seems like it's gonna be the case. They kind of tease that we're gonna be getting cameos every single episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it. But I think that's all the notes we have for this
Okay.
one. Do you want to get into the next, the final project to finish off Phase 4?
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda
Let's go for it.
Dude, okay. The introduction to this, so first of all, this comes out November 11th.
Mm-hmm.
The way that Kevin Feige introduced this on the panel was like chills. I was in like tears because it was just so well done. I think the way he says, so I have it quoted because I don't want to mess it up at all. He said, "We've talked about the future, we've talked about the past. Now let's talk about forever." And then it's just like dun dun, everything goes black. We have like the drummer, so it's I think I'm not sure you would pronounce it. Sinhalese.
I don't know.
I can't do it, but it's like the African music. But they come out with the drums. I think it's Baba Mal is the singer, and then Masamba Diop is the I believe it's like the main drummer or something like that. But it's beautiful, so like soulful. It's the classic kind of part of the soundtrack to the previous film, so it's a very noticeable like song, like you connect it with the film, and it's the live performance is just amazing. And I think this film is obviously a very anticipated film, not just because Black Panther as a film was so good the first round, but obviously with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, like there's just a lot to expect from this film. And I think the way they presented it just in DC fandom not DC fandom, what the hell am I saying? San Diego Comic-Con, I just think they're gonna do really well. Like I just can't wait.
The only person that I'm worried about when it comes down to this film is Ryan Coogler, the director.
Really?
Say when it comes down to what he's done so far, he's done. Have you ever seen the movie Fruitvale Station?
No, I have not.
Okay, that was his first project with Michael B. Jordan, and amazing. And then he did the first Creed with Michael B. And then he didn't do the second Creed just because he was too busy shooting Black Panther, right? So now fast forward without Chadwick, without Michael B. He has Angela Davis, he has all of like a majority of the original cast, but now it's just like he had the task of kind of creating a new storyline without the main character that he worked with before, so I don't want to say it's that much of a concern, because just from the projects that I mentioned saying that they're good, I'm sure this is going to be a good movie. But now it's to the question of how good can it be,
And I think that's such a fair question, even with like the credibility that the director has, like we've lost our main character, and he was definitely like, I mean, he was the heart of the movie. He was the namesake, he, I think, changed the game for a lot of people, just the way that this film kind of hit the fandom. And so I think it's fair to be like, feel a little shaky about it, because it's like, okay, well, how can they continue the success? How can they honor like the past and Chadwick's portrayal of the Black Panther, but still be able to move the story forward? Right. So I think that it's gonna be, it must have been a challenge. I'm excited for what we're gonna get. And I mean, I think like they gave us the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer was released publicly. A lot of these sneak peeks weren't for
Mm-hmm.
other projects, but this one
Mm-hmm.
was. And I mean, the trailer looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I think, hold on, before we get into the trailer talks, I think I might have a little extra points just on commentary from the team and everything from Comic Con. Did you catch like the full panel for this one?
Honestly, everything that came out of Comic Con, the only thing I saw were the trailers. I didn't really catch the panels. I just saw the pictures of the panels, but I didn't actually get a chance to watch.
Gotcha. So I watched the majority of it for Marvel, and there's something that Ryan Coogler did say. So he was kind of, as he's introducing the panel, as people are kind of joining him on stage, he shares the story from the last time that he was on Comic Con for the first Black Panther film, and he's talking about how when they aired like the trailer, how he had Chadwick's like hand on his shoulder, and he's like, for those of you who knew him, you know he had these massive hands, and he was just squeezing and squeezing and squeezing harder and harder, like as the trailer is rolling, and he's like, the whole day, he's like, the rest of the day, I just had like this soreness, like I could feel his hand the entire day for Comic-Con, wow. And he's like, being here, he's like, I can feel like his hand, you know, and it was just like such a beautiful way to kind of introduce like the, you know, this next step into the project. And I think it was just such a beautiful story that I really love that he shared. And they introduced, I mean, for the cast they had Nakia, Shuri, Okoye. I'm so like insecure of saying this name because you've corrected me so many times in our winter. There you go, and I was gonna say it wrong, so there you go. Thank you.
Like it may look like Ayo, but just the A, it has the I sound, so it's like Io. The only reason why I know this is because I actually know an Io, and it's spelled the same way.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hand it to you, and just know whenever I do this as I'm listing names, it's because I want you to say it. We got Namora, we got Riri Williams, and we got Namor on the stage. And the trailer gave us, we got a nice look of each of them kind of in their full gear, and it's exciting. And let's see, I think that's like the big notes I had from the panel itself. So if you're ready, we can hop into the trailer. You can kind of start us out.
So the trailer, it looks like, if anything, it's not necessarily a celebration. It's already starting off kind of dark. It starts off with like, I don't know if it was just like the passing of T'Challa, but it doesn't look like a happy place. Like you have like the dancers, but then you have Shuri walking through the crowd kind of hooded, looking sad. So right off the jump, it's just like, okay, we're already here, you know. It is no like Cameo, Black Panther, and then boom, he dies. No, it's like it looks like he's already passed, and now the story's just on some how do we move forward now. From there, we get some new images of Wakanda and just different areas and different buildings. But we do start to touch along what they kind of touched in Endgame, which of course everybody's been talking about, the whole there's earthquakes in the water. So now that's where this story comes into play. We see the birth. Would you assume that's the birth of Neymar?
See, I'm not sure. I feel like it could be because we do also see Namor as a child, and then they kind of parallel that with a, you know, a similar shot of him as an adult. So it could be for sure. Like maybe we're seeing kind of his story along, like kind of embedded into this film. So I think it's safe to assume that.
So now we're here. We see the birth, and now we're kind of getting an idea that it's going to be Wakandans against Atlanteans. But now, as far as my question is, as far as Earth 616 is concerned, I don't want to talk about anything like multiverse or anything like that. Let's just talk about Earth for a second. Okay, it's been pretty normal in terms of humans there. The only advanced humans are the people who have taken a serum or created suits or whatnot. But now enter the Atlanteans that in any story, Marvel, DC, anywhere, they they're a race of beings that can breathe underwater, right? And I know just from, I guess, Greek mythology, they are kind of like descendants of Poseidon or whatnot. I don't know if they're going to go that route here, but in terms of this race living underwater, I'm curious as if they're going to kind of go into that backstory of how they went underwater and how they're able to live underwater.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of curious because there are kind of different characters within the scope of like the Atlanteans, and they look a little different. Like Namor, he just has this like really cool like Aztec look to him, but then
Mm-hmm.
we also have some Atlanteans who have like a blue tealish skin. So I'm curious about like the difference between those, you know, kind of the differences within the species of the Atlanteans here,
Watch,
or the rest
watch.
of the.
They're Cree. They're probably Cree.
Dude, I was
They
gonna say
they
that.
probably held the bangle too, and they some one of their blue guys landed on land. He couldn't breathe on land, and then that's how Aisha got the bangle. Boom.
Done.
There it is.
Done. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. I'll take it. But no, it's So yeah, it's this is a whole new like race of people that we're being introduced to, and there was a lot of early on kind of release of information that the Atlanteans would take on kind of inspiration from Mayan and Aztec culture, which we definitely see from the
Right.
architecture to just the actors that are portraying these characters. And the actor who is playing Namor did like have some commentary within like the panel of just referencing um, the opportunities that are being open to now, being that stories for different people are being showcased, right? And we talked about this, it's been
Yeah.
like a common theme for
Mm-hmm.
us. You know, them making this decision allows for, even like just actors who aren't always, on the big screen to be on the big screen. The same way that Black Panther and Shang-Chi kind of did similar things for, their like, the Black community, Asian community, like all of them. And so it's just really cool to kind of see this continue on. Um, and just kind of going back a little bit in the beginning of this trailer, you commented like I think the tone definitely matches something that's appropriate, which is like just addressing that there is a loss. Like there's a loss
Mm-hmm.
like in the real world for us,
Mm-hmm.
being that Chadwick's no longer with us, and also within the film. And so I think it's appropriate the way that they set that up. Like it's not like rainbows and sunshine.
Sure.
I feel like that wouldn't sit well. And so I think the approach was perfect. And I want to say that I think we're seeing what's gonna be T'Challa's like funeral. Everyone's in white, which I think looks
Right.
so similar to how in the ancestral plane everyone is in white. So I wonder if there's, that's kind of maybe behind or part of that.
That's
But
not wait. That's not entirely true because Killmonger wasn't.
maybe because he was of how he was
Because he was
at
from
that.
Oakland.
Because he was from
That's
Oakland.
lame.
No, but there's like a parallel there that I wonder if it was intentional. But we get this kind of like bird's eye view, like a shot, and you see that Shuri's actually carrying the helmet of the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it is like his funeral as we see her and the Queen just kind of walking down the aisle,
Mm-hmm.
and we get the final shot, or I guess really the first shot of the new Black Panther. And I wanted to get your ideas on that, your feelings. Where are you on that?
I honestly have no idea just because the last time I saw Shiri, I feel like I've seen more of her upper half and she looks like lean. I don't want to say skinny, but she looks super lean. To where here they show the panther suit and these legs that they show the bottom half they look kind of thick, and like we were kind of leaning towards her becoming the new Panther, but who's to say that this could be honestly a, because I think the last time we talked about this, you said there could be possibly maybe like a flashback, and if anything, it could be a flashback for one, and two, it could be the story of how we lose T'Challa.
Could be, however, so I want to say it could be a flashback. I think that's more likely than say like a final shot of like T'Challa, just because I think that they're purposefully setting this up, especially at the end versus beginning, for it to indicate this is the new Black Panther. Shuri is going to take on the mantle. Who knows if it's going to be additional people who also take on, I'm not sure, like maybe she takes on the mantle, and then, you know, I think we talked about maybe M'Baku having some role with that. Right. There's a theory that I kind of want to comment on because it's kind of cool. But before we get there, something I was looking, because I screenshotted it, because I was like, this Black Panther is kind of thickly to be Shuri. You know, Shuri's very lean,
right?
Very,
that's
like,
what yeah, I agree.
Figure. And I was like, these thighs, this waist, like, you know, it's. So I was like, I was wondering, I'm like, is this like a male like Black Panther? But when you look at the wrist says it all. It is dainty wrist, so I think it is like a woman.
Okay.
It's I think it's Shuri, and honestly, I think it's her stunt double.
Okay.
I think that this shot that they used is the stunt double, because I checked my sources, and I was like, bro, what is this? You got some explaining to. And they told me, they were just like, I don't know, but I was like, I think it's, I have a feeling it's maybe the stunt double that was in the shot.
It would have to be if it is her, because just the shot itself, like I've looked at the picture and I'm just like, it just looks too, I don't want to say it looks too big, but like like the person has some mass to it, more than what we know Shuri of. And just us kind of talking about it right now, the only thought that I can maybe say is a possibility is gonna come back to the heart-shaped herb, okay? And my prediction would be, being that they were burned in the last movie, Shuri, she either synthesized it or she synthesized another super soldier serum and took it, and now she's, or her stunt double is jacked. Whoever is in the Panther outfit. So I think that makes a little bit more sense to me.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of maybe her synthesizing it, you know, because it makes sense for her. But I'm really, really like hooked on the idea that you kind of mentioned a while back of like, because there has to be now a means of creating a new Black Panther, right? And so, yes, like the normal means is burned out, and so maybe we're going to get almost like a parallel of how it originated in Wakanda, which is from Bass, you know. And so yeah, I mean, I think I'm cool with either one. I think it'd be cool, but yeah, that kind of threw me off. I'm like, hold on, is it Shuri? Is it not? I think it's her stunt double. I think it's her, or meant to be her.
What if it's Bass, low-key?
Oh, dude, I would love that so much.
I'm just throwing that out there.
I like it.
Because because she is confirmed to be in this movie, so we don't know in what shape or form. We got a quick glimpse in Thor: Love and Thunder, but who knows? Like if we got that in that movie, like an actual physical human-like form there, then we know for sure she may not come out to be like the huge Panther guy that we got in the beginning of Black Panther, the first one. So she may, who knows, come back and take the form of the new Black Panther.
You are on a roll with these Black Panther theories. I'm all about it. I love that one. I think, yeah, maybe that is her. Oh my God, done. That's it. That is it. Let me see if I have. Okay. So something we did see in the trailer that we haven't talked about just yet is that we do see some military conflict that doesn't seem to be specifically Wakandans, and it doesn't seem to be Atlanteans. Like they're in like very much like just military gear that isn't recognizable to either one of those people. And so I'm wondering if this is going to kind of address, you know, like the last film, they debated a lot whether they were going to become public about what Wakanda actually is and the resources that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that they didn't do this in the past is because that would leave them vulnerable to kind of ending up like the rest of the world
Right.
in mayhem and all these things, right? And so I wonder if we're seeing that play out now with the world being aware of Wakanda, that there is now conflicts that they wouldn't have had with other countries apart from just the Atlanteans, you know? So that's what I was kind of curious about when I saw that scene, just because it was very much a theme in the previous film.
Well, if that's the case, we still have to factor in Riri Williams, because we did get that cameo. We did kind of get her. It looked like she was in the lab, and she dapped Shuri up, gave her a little dab there, and then we saw her kind of weld out the Ironheart, the physical Ironheart. So who knows? Like, being that, because Riri, she's American, yes.
I believe so. Yeah.
So who's to say that this conflict, it may be related to her, and if anything, she becomes Ironheart in this film, and that story kind of leads into. I won't say it won't happen here in this film, but let's say it leads to her show that comes out on Disney Plus.
It could be 100%. And, you know, I'm wondering if maybe she's like an intern in Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how she ends up in the lab and stuff. And obviously, Shuri being like the lead of like the technology
Right.
there, it would make sense that they'd create like a pretty strong bond. But I'm loving it. Like, overall, you can see this from the trailer and you can see this from the panel. Like, this is going to be a very strong female led film as well. Like, there's a lot of like badass women, you know, from just like the ones we already talked about, like the Queen. I mean, like I'm excited for that element, and we still have M'Baku coming through.
I think it's only M'Baku who's really left in terms of just like lead roles, because T'Challa's friend betrayed him, so he's
Yeah.
out of there. And the only other dude, honestly, that I could think of is the guy with the bull lip, the little lip, you know, that's like on the
Those
council.
are the only two men.
There's like
in this
M'Baku
entire thing.
and that guy, and then it's the rest, the women of Wakanda.
The Dora Milaje.
No, I'm just saying all of the women of Wakanda. The Queen,
Oh, yeah.
Shuri, everybody. Like, there are no, let's say, leading male roles there. Maybe, actually, no. I was gonna say the bald guy who knew Killmonger's story, but Killmonger killed him in that battle. So yeah, there's no more males. I don't think.
I mean, I'd love for us to kind of get, you know, I feel like we've seen so much of the Dora Milaje just kind of kicking ass. Like, they've established themselves as just, like, amazing.
Sure.
I feel like it'd be so cool to get some really solid fight scenes with, say, like what do they call it? The Mountain Tribe? The ones like M'Baku kind of leads. I feel like it would be so cool to kind of get some nice shots with them, because we haven't seen very much from them since really the final battle scene in Black Panther, the first one. And I think that'd be kind of dope. And there was this theory that I kind of liked where they're, you know, Shuri taking on the mantle of the Black Panther, and M'Baku actually ends up becoming king. Have you heard about this one?
No,
This theory?
No.
I'm kind of digging it. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I kind of like it.
I'm not mad. He
Yeah.
he challenged T'Challa for king, so he may be good for that role. Just because of his I don't want to say humble beginnings, but he lives out in the mountains. You know, he wasn't raised around the shiny vibranium like everything else. So it may be good for him to actually be king. He doesn't have to come in with a big head of knowing Wakanda like T'Challa. I'm not saying T'Challa had a big head, but I'm just saying he's just coming from a humbler background.
Yeah. Like, I think I would really like to see him play that role. I know there was like a theory. I think you're the one who mentioned it to me, of like M'Baku maybe even becoming the Black Panther. Like,
No,
maybe
that wasn't me.
debate. Oh, okay, then I think I just heard it off to the side. But that was another one.
Actually,
but I think
she just leaked that, y'all.
I leaked it. I know. I actually don't know very much at this point. All of the knowledge I had prior is at this point just common knowledge, you know?
It's out there. Mm-hmm.
It's out there. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be great. I feel like this is gonna be such a hashtag heartstrings film through and through.
100%. Like 100% throughout the whole movie. Like,
just crying.
I'm gonna tear up.
Like the moment that you just hear like the first syllable of music that indicates we're about to get into the film, it's just sobbing.
I forgot the dude's last name, but this guy, honestly, if Ryan Coogler is sticking with the home team, then he's gonna stick with this guy named Ludwig that did the music originally, and hopefully he brings Ludwig back here, and he's just a crazy musician, you know, and like of course I've known Ludwig to more so produce hip hop for Childish Gambino, but then like Black Panther, like I watched the YouTube to where it's like he went out to Africa to just get all of these like to feel all the rhythms and the things of like how the music is out there, you know. So I can imagine him going into his African bag again, and then somehow, and it's usually the music that gets me, that hits me. Like I can watch something, but then it's the music that gets me so emotional. So I feel like if I cry, it's probably gonna be Ludwig's fault.
You know something? I'm about it, because music is so such a huge part of storytelling, and we associate these things so like strongly with just different elements. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I think one of the simplest and best examples of it is the way Endgame finished with just the sound of Tony, like from the first Iron Man building a suit, just like the dings. You know that, like, that was like what, a second of sound, and like it meant a lot, you know. So yeah, I think I think the soundtrack also stood apart, like you said, like in the first film. I think the same is going to be here. I know that I heard things that, like, apart from his involvement, I think they mentioned that Doja Cat and The Weeknd are actually working on things for this film, which I think would be dope.
Well, say The Weeknd did something in the last film, like initially, like say as far as Ludwig, right, he's more so the composer who scores the movie, but then like Kendrick Lamar, he's the one who actually produced an album for the movie, and he had the Weeknd and all that. So I can imagine like another album dropping with the Weeknd and them using, because they used some bits and pieces in the film in the first one. So I can imagine Weeknd and Doja, they're the hot item right now. So
yeah, that's kind of like the parallel that like I felt when I saw that little tidbit of information. It's like, okay, like they're gonna be the ones kind of taking place of like Kendrick Lamar and like the Weeknd did in the previous film. So I'm excited. I think that is the majority that I have for Black Panther. Do you have anything else?
The only thing I can really think of is like, say I can imagine this movie along with just about the loss of T'Challa. I can just imagine that it may seem like the Atlanteans may be the quote unquote antagonist here, but at the end of the movie, I feel like it's just gonna be pretty much one nation, Wakandans and Atlanteans pretty much coming together.
Oh, I mean, I think it's easy to suggest that there's going to be some point where they reach harmony, because Namor is an Avenger. You know, Namor is like a hero in the majority of his history in the comics. Like there are
the whatchamacallit, right? Illuminati.
He's in the Illuminati, you know. Yeah, so he definitely is like, and the reason I say the majority is because he does kind of hate humans because of the pollution and the horrible things that we have done for the ocean, you know?
Oh, he's about to give us that Aquaman thing? Oh, I'm lost already.
It's get out of here. No, but it's like, it's a justified complaint. If you're like the leader of like the submariners, the Atlanteans, it's like, why wouldn't you be upset with these people who are constantly like dumping on your home? You know what I mean? So like that is like a common commentary in like the comics.
Gotcha.
And I think there's been situations where it's almost like, you know, he doesn't like humans, period, you know, so he has an issue with that. But and I think that's kind of maybe the relationship or the conflict that they're going to have initially with the Wakandans. But yes, I definitely think you're right. It's going to end up leading with some type of harmony and like synergy, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so that was the Black Panther.
And not just Black Panther. That is Phase 4, my friend.
Oh
That's
yeah,
Phase
that's
4.
wrapping up Phase 4. 100%, definitely. So now what I want to do, I'm going to bring up. I have two lineups to bring up. Would you want to start with the movie lineup or the show lineup of Phase 5?
Let's do the show lineup.
Okay, I got that poster here.
While you're pulling that up, okay. So, are you aware of the Princess Way to eat cupcakes?
No.
Is this familiar to you? Okay. So for those of you who are fans of Princess Diaries,
wait. Are you about to take the bottom off?
Ready?
Put it on
Ready?
top?
I'm not about to. I did.
Okay.
Just do the little thingy.
Make a little sandwich. That's the Princess Way? Is that what you said?
Queen Amelia Thermopolis of Genovia taught me this. Princess Diaries.
Okay.
OG.
Okay.
Continue.
All right. So we have the shows lined up, and as far as what they are, hold on. I need to bring up a bigger image here. Nope, that's the movie one. All right, so early 2023, we're going to get season 2 of What If. Then we're going to get Secret Invasion, followed by Echo, then followed by Loki. Oh, and let me name off, like, say What If is 9 episodes. They haven't decided if Echo or how many episodes Echo is going to get, but Secret Invasion and Loki are already slated for 6 episodes. Then we have Ironheart, which is 6 episodes. Agatha, Coven of Chaos, which is to be announced as far as how many episodes. And then the shockingly crazy amount of episodes goes to Daredevil Born Again. Now, being that it's been pretty much the track record of these Disney Plus shows with Marvel being 6 episodes long. For one, this Daredevil slate is unheard of, but at the same time, I can imagine them doing 6 episodes in 3 different parts. How do you feel about that?
What do you mean by 6 episodes in 3 different parts?
Because it's 18 episodes total, you know?
Yes. No, I understand that. But what do you mean by, like, you think that they're doing 6 episodes in 3? Like,
well, like
the way
what if they do like just like Netflix, we're gonna release the first 6, give it some time, the next 6, give it some time, and then the final 6.
Gotcha. See, and the thing is, because Marvel does this on a weekly basis for release, unlike Netflix, I don't think they're gonna give us like 6, and then 6.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like, I'd like to binge watch the first 6 episodes and then just wait for the next one to scroll out, etc. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't mind it, but I just feel like it's unlikely just because they already have that weekly release system.
Okay.
But I mean, 18 is
just like ABC.
A lot.
Like, I remember watching the show Lost, and that was like a 24 episode event, you know, like each season.
Yeah, well, for old school TV, like 24 episodes was the standard for a whole season, you know, and so that's obviously changed since we've been in like the streaming world and we've been getting shows. Really, like the standard for the streaming world is like at max 8, really,
right,
you know,
right.
Typically 6. So yeah, this is kind of like taking it back to like closer to old school kind of expectations of how many episodes for a season.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm about it. I feel like one of the things that people are very concerned about, especially with the storyline that they're adapting, is that it's not going to be authentically dark and gritty, the way that they want, the way they expect it for Daredevil, and the way that it's actually true for the storyline that they're adapting overall. And I think 18 episodes would allow them to do all of that, you know?
Well, if you want dark and gritty, you all can go back and watch the Netflix versions of it on Disney Plus because now all of them are there. So if you want dark, you can watch that. But Disney has the reins. You know they can't go full bloody like they did before. Like there was a story that came out not too long ago, a couple months ago, how they removed some blood out of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So if it comes down to it, they can't give us the same Daredevil like they did before.
I feel like they can. They need to take off the gloves.
It's
They
Disney.
need to
It's
give it all.
Disney. It's Disney. Listen, and
No, but listen.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the thing. Deadpool is now on Disney Plus. Logan is now on Disney Plus. All of these are rated R. We have the Zombies TV series that just got approved for TVMA. Like they are starting to really get comfortable with releasing these things. And so I would not put it past them if they really do go gritty with this Daredevil project. And also it's like being that they do have so much range right now with the genres and the different kind of feels and themes for each project. You know, we just finished with Marvel that was very lighthearted and true for that character. It's like I feel like they need that spectrum, you know, like to tailor for the younger audiences, the longtime audiences that want the gritty. It's like if they want to go all the way like fuzzy soft and youthful, they should feel like they should go on the other end. I'm not
Sure.
talking the boys level, I'm just meaning like to give us that level of like the action and like the gruesomeness. And I
Mm-hmm.
think Daredevil is the perfect like project to do that for because the fan base is ready for it, the fan base is big, it's a safe place to do it, you know.
I can imagine. Well, then let me ask you, just in comparison, just because being that Daredevil is the last show slated on this list, right? Um, we do get Echo earlier on, and Echo we already know is going to be dealing with Wilson Fisk, but in terms of the violence, I can see Echo being similar to how Hawkeye was, because Hawkeye wasn't mystical. He's not out here going in between multiverses or whatnot. He's an at-home human being, street level Avenger, and I can say that even with that, we still enjoyed Hawkeye. Hawkeye is still in the top of the rankings. I think it was maybe like 3 or 4 when it came down to it, just right behind Moon Knight. And Moon Knight wasn't even that violent either, and same deal, action packed. No, and almost literally no blood in terms of like arms being severed off or like he got stabbed but he was able to heal. So I feel like for this Daredevil show, they're going to, I don't think they're going to cross the line of Moon Knight, but I think they're going to be at that line of violence and action to where it's not too gory like Netflix was, and just they're going to emphasize the story enough to where we're not going to think too much of it.
I mean, story is always going to trump the action. It
Mm-hmm.
needs to. Otherwise, we're not going to care in 10 years. It doesn't last over a decade, and we want these things to last. But like I think with Daredevil, it just has so much opportunity for them to challenge that element and to really kind of dive into that like realm. And it's like yeah, like Hawkeye, it wasn't like that, but it wasn't, it's not like we expect it from Hawkeye. Like for Daredevil, I feel like there's a different set of expectations, especially with the storylines that he normally plays in. So if I wouldn't be like upset if it's not Netflix standard gore or like grittiness, but I just feel like those elements have to be there. Like even like they've done a great job of just doing this like suggestively in a way that was still very like it had momentum. And so like the scene is like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just like with the shield, you don't actually see like busted head, brain spilling out type of a
Right.
thing. But
Right.
just to see the shield with the blood and have those framed in the way that they were, that is enough for us to be like, oh my god, like they've never done this. Like that was very out there for them.
Okay.
So even if it was just within that realm, I think that would be very appropriate for Daredevil, and I think it would still like what's the word, meet the expectations that a lot of the Daredevil fans have, you know?
Yeah, I don't think Disney is looking to water Daredevil down because them bringing uh, the same actor from Netflix on over, um, they they have a task of not matching the Netflix series, but making it just as good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's an expectation. Like the bar's set. This isn't the first time we're getting introduced to a character and an actor playing this character. Like the standard is there, and
Right.
especially like you said, like with them bringing on the same actor.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you think we're gonna get a Spider-Man cameo in the Daredevil series?
Maybe. All of this, which is funny, all of these characters are in the tri-state area. They live like 20 minutes from each other. Like Miss Marvel, she's from like Jersey City, New Jersey, which is a bridge away from New York City. So if anything, she can cross a bridge and meet Peter Parker randomly. She could just hop on over, how she's just walking in the sky now over to New York. And if she needed a lawyer, just go holler at Matt Murdock or something. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did get a Spider-Man cameo in it. You know?
See, no, yeah, and like, I mean, the first phase of this saga it was very much, like the passing of the mantle, the introduction of a lot of new characters. Phase 5, we're revisiting characters that we've seen in, phase 4,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of moving the story along of like connecting storylines, connecting characters, similar to what like the middle phase of the Infinity Saga did,
Mm-hmm.
because then the saga or the phase to follow is where like the monumental, huge events are happening.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. Like I think this is such a great grounds for us to get introduced to, or not introduced, but see these pairings kind of happen. Like maybe Deadpool's gonna come into the mix at some point in phase 5.
Mm-hmm.
And these are just the projects that are known. Like there are so many, especially for like the phase 6, which we're not really getting into just yet, but there's so many just dates of expected projects that haven't been like fully like
Announced.
given to us. Like like not like they haven't really told us what they are. So
Well, like I'm bringing up the movie lineup poster, but before I read into it, one character that is not slated in Phase 5 at all in terms of a movie is Spider-Man. But we already know that Tom Holland, he's signed on to do 3 more movies. So if anything, they may just do what they did in Phase 3 and give him at least like 2 movies in Phase 6, and then maybe 1 more movie after that, and then he may be done, because by that time he's reached an age to where, who knows, we may get an old man Peter Parker like we did in Spider-Verse, but I don't know. I can't really speak on if Marvel's going to go that route.
I mean, it's like I don't know. There's the thing is, it's like Spider-Man is such a staple in Marvel. It's always been. And I'd be, they're doing like the Madame Web. There's actually this week a lot of shots of the set are being released, and it's pretty cool. Very great lineup of actresses, which makes me feel like this is going to be a great project. And so there's so many different Spider people where, say, there is a point where Tom Holland like hangs up the mantle. There still will be like the essence of Spider-Man, I think, continuing in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I feel like we're gonna see him. Like, there's no way we can't see Peter Parker in Phase 5. Like I just feel like that's not gonna happen.
Oh, I'm not saying we're not gonna see him. I'm just saying, like, say as of like projects are concerned, I think as of right now we've gotten three from him in the first saga, and maybe we need some time to like this whole new phase was just kind of like you said, introducing and passing the mantle. You know, Spider-Man, he did get one movie here. Because Far From Home was still technically Phase 3. So
Yeah.
No Way Home was Phase 4. And yeah, chill. Tom Holland, chill out. Do the next Uncharted 2.
And then come back to it.
and then come back in Phase 6. We're working on it. We did our little spring outing, little camp. We just wrote the next 3 movies in our camp. So
You're welcome.
yeah.
You're welcome.
Right.
See, and also it's like I want to see like a Tom Holland that's a little bit more down the road from where we left him off, you know, because I feel like we left him in such a vulnerable place. Like he is so alone. And so I just feel like there's so much story to tell in that because I feel like there's so much sadness and tragedy. Like I'm excited for when we see him again, but I want to miss him. You know, like I never want to get to a point where I'm like, oh my god, another Spider-Man film.
But
yeah,
honestly,
so I
like me aside, that's how I hear it from a lot of people. Like because after Toby, then Andrew, and now Tom, that's how many films total? Is that 8? It was 3, 2, 3. So far we've had 8 Spider-Man movies, and I've heard people just like another one. So I'm not mad at the break, like you said.
the limit does not exist, guys. But it needs to be orchestrated well. Like I said, I never want to get to that point where I'm like, I'm done with Spider-Man, you know, or I'm tired of it, you know. So I'm okay with the break, but I do expect to see him even just briefly, like in saga, like the 5th phase, or for sure gonna see them in Phase 6. You know, like this is where we're getting those massive lineups. But I'm kind of getting ahead because we got a lot of films to talk about in Phase 5.
The last thing I want to touch on, just in terms of Spider-Man, is it's like, yeah, we may need a break, but at the end of the day, I feel like when it comes down to Marvel as a company and its appeal to the masses, I think Spider-Man is maybe like one of the most like appealed for characters, like especially when it comes to kids. Like I remember being super young and Spider-Man being my favorite comic book character, but that was before the X-Men 97 series actually showed on TV, when Wolverine became my character, and so on and so forth. But even still, Spider-Man is lovable by all ages, and if anything, Marvel is always going to have, even after Tom Holland, not even Marvel, Sony's going to have their hands on Spider-Man, just because the masses are always going to want a version of him, whether if it's Miles Morales, whether if it's I think we just got an announcement of, I don't know, it's like Punk Spider-Man or something like that, like the one with the spikes that's going to be in that's in the Miles Morales movie too, right?
I don't believe the Punk one showed up in Miles Morales.
Where did I hear about that? Like it's like we're getting some Punk Spider-Man, like the one with the spikes
he's present in the comics. So I don't know if he was introduced in the first not Spider-Geddon, Spider-Verse.
No. Like it was like just an announcement like yesterday to where I think he is going to be in the next Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that, so that is news to me. Yeah. So he's cool. Like when I read about him in the Spider-Verse, like he was one of those characters that they gave like a brief kind of like background about him before they get plucked from kind of like their universe. So he's a cool like a variation of Spider-Man. I think he in the comics he's like kind of a Black Lives Matter activist. I think he's in the middle of like a rock show rally when they pluck him to help them in like the battle in the Spider-Verse. But it's he's a cool character. So if they've slotted him for like the next Spider-Verse film, I'm I'm excited. It's gonna be good.
All right.
Um,
So
yeah.
yeah. No, I'm gonna move on to the next slate of movies because as far as time goes, what I want to do, I want to talk about. I want to run down this list and then we're gonna talk about Guardians. Does that sound cool?
Always.
Okay.
Always.
So now the list of movies slated for Phase Five. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and I saw a picture of Jonathan Masters. He looks super jacked in this movie. He almost, I'm just gonna say he's like Black Thor, low key. And then after Ant-Man and the Wasp, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Then first Ant-Man comes out February 17th, Guardians May 5th, and then afterwards we have the Marvels, which is Captain Marvel 2, that comes out July 28th, which is exactly a year from yesterday.
Yeah.
And after that, we get Blade. I've been waiting so long for Blade to come out. That's November 3rd. Then we have Captain America: New World Order. So we actually have an official title, New World Order, and that's May 3rd, 2024. Then we have the Thunderbolts, which is July 26th, 2024. And the two movies that you don't see on the screen but everybody is super excited about is Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars. So those are the movies slated for Phase 5. And those Avengers movies, those are Phase 6, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, that's what I got. Go for it.
So,
Go in.
So, going through Phase 5. So the main two that they kind of really talked about in Comic-Con are Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is going to set off Phase 5. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, that's February 17th, 2023. They introduced Catherine Newton as the new Casey. She was like super cute on stage. She was like very nervous. She just like whispered softly in the mic. She's like, "Hi, I'm Cassie," and it's just Cassie. I'm sorry, I think I said Casey. Cassie. So I'm excited. I've seen this actress in a couple of things. Nothing too crazy. I will always be a little bitter that they recasted the one that they used for Endgame because I thought she was just perfect for Cassie. But that's just me.
She was only in Endgame for 5 minutes, though.
I don't know,
Not even 5 minutes, maybe even 2 minutes.
I feel like they're just so good at the continuity with like they don't recast very often. And funny enough, so there's this a while back there was this whole TikTok like mayhem because they recasted her and the actress who played her in Endgame was like, well, this is great. This is news to me. I was thinking I was going to be in the next films and all this stuff. So it was just kind of like shady, I guess, on Marvel's part. Right. So she didn't really get the best introduction in the MCU, but she's here. She's here. Not her fault. Great opportunity. I'm sure she's going to be great. Let's see. We've, of course, got like the classic gang. And then as soon as they give us the trailer, this is where we get Jonathan Majors come on to the main stage, and it's so good. They ask him, like, what can we expect from like Kang, and then he's just like conquering. It's just like the way he said it was so cool. It was pretty cool. Let's see, Bill Murray is gonna appear. Let's see, that's kind of like the main stuff I got from it. Like
I think I read somewhere Bill Murray, he's actually playing like a human-like being who's kind of living in the quantum realm. So I'm curious just to see what he's going to be on. It's going to be funny. I know he is.
I was going to say, we know it's just going to be hilarious. So I'm excited. I'm excited no matter what. But this is going to be great. This is going to be Kang's first introduction officially into the films. And really actually first introduction period as Kang the Conqueror, because we only really saw a statue of him in Loki. So this is really exciting.
We can call He Who Remains Kang. Let's not just say this is our introduction, because even in the introduction he was like, I've been called like a conqueror. So like he knows like who he is in the Loki
He's
series.
aware of like his different variants, you know, but I think it's safe to say it's like we met He Who Remains. We have not met like Kang the Conqueror, you know, like the way that we expect him. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be like the first like, real like look at him. And you know, the trailer isn't released publicly yet, but they have been like, you know, people just kind of showing shots of it. You know, it did kind of get leaked. I love myself too much to watch a secondhand version. So I'll wait till it gets fully released before I watch it myself. But yeah, that's kind of what I got for Ant-Man. Do you have anything before we move on to Guardians?
No, I'm ready for Guardians.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
So before we even talk about Guardians, I'm gonna bring up another movie. Okay. This is totally off topic. But let me ask you. A few years ago, there was a movie called We Are the Millers. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so in this movie, as you can see in this picture, not you, but as the viewers can see to the far right, we have an image of a young guy named Will Poulter, right? Skinny, scrawny. He's hilarious in the movie, but I'm gonna bring up the picture of what I saw of him in Comic-Con. Jacked. I'm just like, how did he go from scrawny to jacked? And I feel like that's like a common thing that I'm seeing online. Like even when I Google just to find these pictures, like I saw some stuff like, when did this guy get jacked? I'm like, exactly, because even in he was in I think I know him from Maze Runner, and he said he was a nice guy in We Are the Millers, but then he was kind of like an a-hole in Maze Runners, but he was still like a kind of like a skinny guy. But here, like he's put on some mass just to play the Adam Warlock role. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, when it was announced that he would be playing Adam Warlock, a character that's been long like awaited since Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it was like that. People were like, dude, this guy's gonna play the, you know, Adam Warlock, like, you know, and then like maybe a few weeks in, pictures started circulating of how he looks now, because they were definitely like clipping the pictures from like We Are the Millers and like, this is our Adam Warlock. And then like a recent picture was like floating through the internet, and people were like, damn,
right,
like this is Adam Warlock, like. And I love that for him. Like, imagine being casted for Guardians of the Galaxy of all films. You like, it's such a huge opportunity, and then you see, like, they see it, like the internet being like, "Oh, this is gonna," you know, and then to see them just flip the switch of like, "Whoa,"
sure.
You know, like, I love that for the actor. The Guardians of the Galaxy panel. Did you catch this one? I know you said you didn't watch too many of like the panels themselves.
No, I've only seen pictures. I didn't watch any panels.
This panel was so emotional. So if you guys have been on the show for a while, you guys know Guardians of the Galaxy is like one of my all-time favorites. So first of all, I'm coming into this with like so much emotion, but to see the cast, like when every single one of them were like speaking, it started off with Peter Quill, you know, Chris Pratt. Everyone was like, if not in tears, like on the verge of tears. It's just a beautiful thing. Like it's let me see if I have my notes on them, because it's like all of them were just like amazing on like the when they got handed the mic. But James Gunn kind of kicked it off. He talked about how it was like basically a decade ago, almost in like on the week that he pitched Guardians of the Galaxy to Kevin Feige, and since then they've had like a broad idea of where these characters would end up, what are their story arcs, and you know, he said like, every story has an end, and this is it. Sure. And so already like the emotions are flaring. Like this has been a very long awaited film. It's one of the longest like gaps between like sequels, if you will. So it's highly anticipated. Rocket's story is going to be huge in this film. So Rocket has been described by James Gunn as the saddest creature in the universe. We're going to see a baby Rocket raccoon. And so Chris Pratt talks about how Quill really sets up the team to be vulnerable, and puts him in danger because of where we see him end up after Endgame, like losing the love of his life. Gamora's there now, but it's not the same Gamora. Right. She doesn't know who he is. And he basically puts the team in danger because of that. That's going to kind of set up the events of this movie. Nebula, she talks about how now that Thanos is no longer part of her life, like she's funnier, she's kind of getting to understand herself, like this, she's more emotional. She's able to form like the personality that she was always supposed to have if it wasn't for Thanos, really,
Right,
you know?
right.
Mantis is going to be a lot more confident, unapologetic, even angry. She's going to have like some fighting skills to really showcase, which is kind of cool because it was a little bit of a meme that in the battle of in
Like on
Endgame,
Titan.
she's like putting people to sleep throughout the entire battle.
Oh, I haven't seen that meme. I haven't.
Yeah, because like if you look at like I mean, Endgame, like the whole battle scene was done so well because if don't matter where you look, you could be watching this for the 50th time and you'll probably catch different elements in the fight scene. It's so well orchestrated, and one of them is Mantis is just putting people to sleep like left and right. You know?
Oh, I didn't even notice. If she's in the background, I miss it because I'm more so looking at the foreground. But
Yeah.
now I'm gonna have to look in the back of that battle and see what she's up to.
It's just so funny, and so we're gonna see her actually display some like actual like fighting skills, which is pretty cool for her. Let's see.
She's about to. Well, she's. I don't want to say she's a martial artist, but I know the actress, she's in the next Mission Impossible, and she's fighting in there too. So, who knows? She may be a martial artist, just like Kimiko, and she hasn't been able to showcase her skills probably until this movie.
Yeah, and I would love to see that. And Mantis is definitely a character who has not been adapted very closely to her comics. I don't think we ever will, really, just based on what we've seen so far. But I'm excited to kind of see a different, like, side of Mantis because she's always been this very passive, soft, very innocent, like, character, and I feel like it's going to be really cool to see her explore these different emotions. Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother, like he goes on, I'm telling you, at every single point whenever he's talking, like they're in tears talking about their characters. And so when it gets to Sean Gunn, he's like, if you see if we're emotional, it's because we effing care. You know, like he's like we because they were in the back, I think, when they showed like the sequel, the sneak peek, and then they came onto stage, and so they were like, we were in the back like crying because it was the first time we really saw these pieces of the film come together. And I'm just saying, if this is any indication about what's to come when it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm scared and I'm not ready. It's going to be insane. It is the last time we're going to see these characters in this way. We're never going to see this grouping of the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, I don't know.
It's bound to, listen, it's bound to happen, okay? Just
always.
Because at the end of the day, they are a team that they don't go on safe missions, you know? Like it's like I get it, they're heroes, but they're out here fighting space invaders, so it's bound to happen that we lose one or two, you know?
Yeah, and you know it's kind of cool. Like Gamora is meant to be leading the Ravagers in this film, I think. You know, every story has an end, and that's kind of what James Gunn was saying on the panel. And he's like, just because it's an end doesn't mean everyone's gonna die. You know, it's just like stories, you know, have like a close, and we're going to definitely be meeting that for a lot of characters in this film. Adam Warlock, of course, is going to make his full introduction here. We saw him at the one of the end credit scenes of the Volume 1. We have the Golden High Priestess of the Sovereign, Ayesha, who used like this birthing pod to create what she calls let me see. She says it's the next step of our evolution, more powerful, more beautiful, more capable of destroying the Guardians of the Galaxy. Which is very actually similar to the way they describe him in the comics. So there's very much of a parallel the way that they describe him. But yeah, it's super exciting. We also got introduced to the woman playing Cosmo the Space Dog. Did you see that?
No.
So this is another new character that's making its way. So the actress who's going to be voicing Cosmo the Space Dog says, like, this is, you know, it's amazing to be part of something that feels very meaningful. There was a scene in Volume 1 as part of, like, the collection of, like, the Collector where you see Cosmo the Space Dog. So it's been a character that's actually been in the Guardians of the Galaxy world.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that's going to be part of like the main storyline now. But Cosner was formerly a test animal for the Soviet space program. He was launched into Earth's orbit as part of a experiment, but his spacecraft drifted out of orbit during the 1960s, eventually sending him to nowhere. Which is where the collector had his collection, so this all makes sense. At some point during the spatial drift, cosmic rays mutated him, giving him his psionic powers. Thereafter, he became the station's chief of security for Nowhere. So it's a fun new character. I think this is going to be like another group, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm looking into one character that I would like. I'm curious just to see what he's about, but at the same time, now like seeing him like on the panel, he now seems like he's part of the gun crew, you know, because now we have James and his brother, and now we have this actor. I think it's pronounced Chuck Woody, and we know him from Peacemaker, you know, and now he's playing, like they say, the High Evolutionary. So once I saw him, I was like, oh, that's the guy from that show. So I thought that'd be pretty cool that James Gunn is bringing him over to Marvel as well.
He does that a lot. You know, you see Marvel, like, there were so many cameos in Suicide Squad. So he does this all the time. I feel like he collects amazing actors and he just kind of carries them throughout his projects, which I'm not mad at.
Right.
The High Evolutionary, like, his introduction was so cool. So, like, everyone kind of goes through their lineup. We talked to the actors playing Adam Warlock, Cosmo the Space Dog, and then things shift and we see him cutting through the crowds, just kind of bullying people. He's kind of mad dogging everybody. He has this monologue on the stage of basically like, oh, you know, looking into the crowd, I'm reminded of my mission, you know, to evolve, you know, subservient creatures such as yourself, disgusting creatures, into something much greater. It was so cool.
Okay.
So cool. Like, I would definitely recommend you going like into just to watch his introduction. It's actually pretty great, like his little monologue. So the High Evolutionary, he says like, call me Scion. So this is part of what he says like on stage. Just a little bit of him in the comics. He's actually part of the Knights of Wundagore. He's the leader of the group. And the group was created and organized by the High Evolutionary to oppose Chthon, should he ever return. Chthon is like one of the oldest like demons, and we were introduced.
Wait, so with you saying that, is he pro Scarlet Witch or against Scarlet Witch?
It doesn't necessarily set up the relationship like that. I believe he becomes connected to this other character who warns him that Chthon is kind of destined to return. So they need to create this, you know, like a group of almost like the Knights of the Round Table from like King Arthur's time. Like they're trying to unify these knights in preparation for when Chthon will come back. And I think they're based in Wundagore Mountain.
Okay.
I think that's where the group was assembled. That's where the group kind of their base is. So whenever Chthon comes back, and he does through like a different character who I can't remember. And so he's involved in a lot of stories of that nature. Okay. I'm not too sure if Scarlet Witch is involved there. So it's hard to say like which side he stands on. I do think he's going to be the main villain here. But he's an interesting character, and I like that he has these connections to elements that are now canon in the MCU, like Mount Wundagore, Chthon, and things like that. He's also related to Adam Warlock. Whether that's going to be a part of the story or not, I just think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Was Gamora or was Zoe on the panel?
She was not, but she is going to be in this film.
Sure. Like, I noticed that, and I was like, I don't see her up there, but who knows? She could be doing some post work for Avatar.
Yeah, or even like, I don't know if maybe they just I wouldn't say they wouldn't want her there, but I don't know if it's like to be like, ooh, is Gamora gonna be there or not? But it's like she's posting all the time on her Instagram, so it's not a secret.
Right. I've seen her in green, so it's like we know she's in it.
We know. I think if anything, maybe like how you said, scheduling conflicts are probably going on. You know? Yeah.
She's like, I'm out in New Zealand, fam. I'm sorry, I can't make it out to San Diego. I'm out here doing the next James whatchamacallit movie.
Yeah, and then like Dave Bautista wasn't there either, so we were missing him on the panel too.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'm super excited about all of this. Guardians of the Galaxy is like my heart and soul. So I'm so sad to see this coming to an end, at least this version of the team. But I'm excited to see it kind of get wrapped up in what I'm only going to assume is going to be like an epic way. So I'm excited.
So, just to kind of wrap up Comic Con, I want you to give me your top 3 most excited projects out of the whole thing that you're excited to see.
So, I mean, an easy one would be Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like the slate for Phase 6 is just like insane. Like, we finally have Fantastic Four on the roster, on the lineup. It's like for November 4th, 2024. Like, that's crazy. And I'm just really anticipating that. But something I think I'm also super pumped for, I'm going to make this like my final answer to your question, is just pick either of the Avengers projects coming up, because this is the first time in this saga that we're seeing an Avengers film on like the calendar, and it's in the final phase, which is kind of sad. Like, it makes you want to cry to know where we are in terms of where the Avengers are, but they're very much scattered. And it's like you said earlier in an earlier episode, like Phase 5 seems to be the phase where we're going to see some form of a team assemble again, leading into these films, both Avengers the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. I think that's something that my heart is just so excited for, is just to see the Avengers assemble again, however it is that they look. So I'll call it Avengers Kang Dynasty, the first Avengers film in this saga, May 2nd, 2025.
Okay. What's up?
Now set to be directed by Shang-Chi director. Did you hear about that?
I did see that because Brie Larson posted something about that, I think yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, so I think for my top 3 of everything announced, you may be surprised because Avengers not up there. I would put Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm super excited just to see Jonathan Majors play Kang in that. John Wick. And I may have to look at the list. Hold on. Shoot, because there is one more. Hold on. Let's see. I'll say Loki season 2.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
Yep.
That's exciting. I feel like for the shows it would be a whole different topic, but in terms of films, I'm very content with my
bad. All right. If we're talking films,
then change that up.
I'll change it up and I'll throw Blade in there.
Cool. Yeah. I'm excited. My second on that list was Fantastic Four. It's not going to be an origin story, so I'm kind of excited to be kind of plopped in the middle of the story and kind of seeing them already established as a team and seeing where that ends up.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, who's gonna play Mr. Fantastic?
Let me ask you, unrelated to Fantastic Four, how do you feel that nothing was mentioned of the Eternals?
Indifferent.
Really?
I'm a little indifferent of it because I think, who knows? Like, there are so many projects that have not been given a title yet that are set to be in Phase 6. Like, so many, like, just dates kind of plopped around there. So who's to say if maybe we don't get, like, an Eternals film before one of these big films coming up?
Maybe, like, Phase 7, just so it gives us plenty of time to forget the Thing in the Sea.
Maybe. Right? Maybe. So yeah, like I feel like we're going to see them before the end of the saga because it wouldn't make sense for them to not join the battle coming up.
Right.
They have to bring them in somehow. I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy would be a great place to maybe even have like a post-credit scene that ties in with where the Eternals left off. I think that would be kind of a cool way for them to piggyback write it in a way that can actually get us excited and almost forget the things they didn't do very well in that film itself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be kind of a smart move for Marvel. We have to see them before this phase ends. Otherwise, it really does mean that Marvel failed, and they're just hanging up the mantle on it, like
They're giving up. They've given up. They've given up.
So, I mean, I don't want that to be the case. You know, like, I want to love them. I think there's so much potential with the team. And so, I don't know. And I want to see them interact. Like, that's what I'm so excited for Phase 5 is I can't wait to see these characters interact. The new ones, the OGs, and kind of see what these relationships and, like, you know, this colorful pot of just different characters and their interactions. Like, I can't wait for that.
So scheduling, because we're on for next week and we're off the week following because that is my birthday week. But I just randomly had an idea. I want to revisit something for next week.
Okay.
Being that now we have a movie lineup and show lineup for Marvel, I want to revisit the power rankings. Being that now we have a better idea of what characters are to come.
In terms of like ranking are the characters in terms of like treat like you know,
like power rankings, street level, all that.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, very down. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Well, this was year 1. I hope y'all appreciated and liked year 1. We're moving on to year 2 of the comic cinematic universe, and yeah, I just want this year to be bigger than the last. So I think that's all I got.
I am so happy with how this year wrapped up. So grateful for you, Chill. So grateful for our fandom. We have so much in store for you guys in this upcoming year, conventions, etc. Thank you guys for supporting the show and keep supporting it. We got our merch. Subscribe, do all the things, follow all the links. Yeah, so much to come. Make sure to visit us next week as we talk about power rankings, etc. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have just any input, like, just go ahead and put it in the chats. Let us know if you feel like Kamala should be in the top when it comes to power rankings, being that we kind of concluded that her power is just infinite, you know what I'm saying?
So I honestly, just to be passive aggressive, I'm gonna put her at the top just to be that person.
Yeah, like Strange was up there, but I don't know, Strange, you may not be able to handle Kamala.
Because she's apparently so much better at doing time travel than you are, and you have the time stone. You know what I'm saying?
Not anymore. So she's the timekeeper. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Yep,
she's
exactly.
Better than him.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun episode. But as we finish out, let's do a toast with your. I don't know if you have a pie wrapper. We'll do.
I just finished all of my. Here,
mine's like half.
I got my boom here. There it is.
Boom.
There. Awesome.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers.
Done.
And happy birthday to the CCU.
Happy birthday.
All right.
So,
well. You all have a great weekend. Grace, you have a great weekend, and we will catch y'all next Friday.
Bye.
All right. Bye.